practicing, and like he's commenting on like just random dumb things, and so I'm like, okay, whatever. And I tell him like, okay, dude, I'm done practicing. I'm gonna go do some other stuff. Like, oh, Grav, you need to tweet me when I'm gonna practice, or when you're gonna practice next, because I want to like learn more of the run. And I'm like, okay, dude. Like, I didn't actually want to do it, but I didn't want to tell him. But so I'm like, okay, dude, whatever. I didn't end up actually practicing again until like right before my run. So this whole time, Trihex for some reason was like super pumped in my run too. He's like, oh my God, Grav, I'm gonna stay up with you. I'm gonna watch this run. I'll be on your couch, dude. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're gonna stick it out. You're gonna stay up that late. I can't say no to anybody who's gonna watch this irrelevant game at 6 a.m. So Trihex is on board. So I get to like the day of the run. I'm in the practice room. It's like 5 a.m. I'm like nodding off, practicing my run. I'm like, okay, fine, dude, let's go. I get to my run. I sit down in the stream room. I mic up, and I see Trihex miking up. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I see Chibi miking up. I had no idea he was going to be there. He just gets on the couch. I'm like, what is this guy doing? But like, it's 6 a.m. I didn't want to be like the mirrored incident with Wind Waker. I didn't want to like tell this guy to get off my couch for such a short run. I didn't care. So like, I start my run, and like these terrible jokes from the first minute of the run. There's like so many terrible jokes. I'm like just fake laughing. I'm just like trying not to look mad. I'm like just going through it, dude. But it's just so funny because I went to sleep and I woke up and I saw this incident with Chibi and Caveman. I'm like, oh my God, this is because of me, dude.
That's something that, I mean, as you can see, now they're much more, the couch is kind of decided beforehand now. You know, that's, I guess you could see that this is why, you know, that stuff like this doesn't happen. Trihex was doing his best to keep the couch moving, but yeah, it was a tough one.
So yeah, like he wouldn't have been on the couch had I not like, you know, almost let him on the couch. Like I didn't get off my couch. So I don't know if he would have even been on it had I not been there. So he was kind of primed and ready to go because he like made a bunch of Bubsy comments in the Tomba 2 run too. He's like, he was just like all ready to go, dude. It's just funny. I just thought I'd share that little nugget of lore for people.
That's awesome. Yeah. So that's kind of something to think about though. It's like when you're, I don't know, I'm sure it's even a bigger problem for people like Trihex and stuff. And obviously people that a lot of people, a spot on their couch is a kind of a hot spot to be, you know what I mean? So it seems like he might have like, okay, Grav's kind of a person I might be able to become friends with and sit on the couch, and it's good for his like, you know, Twitch career, you know what I mean? So that's something I mean, it's obviously why they changed the policy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you said like so you haven't had a run since 2016, and you said because you kind of don't run any more games. Is there any more to it than that, or just that you don't really have any more passionate games you're passionate about that you want to put the time in?
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't want to really submit. Like, I came to the point where I was like, I didn't really care about doing a GDQ run anymore. I kind of was only there to hang out with my friends. Like the first 2 or 3 runs, I was like super pumped, but then like by the time I got through it all, like it was kind of just a grind. And so,
okay.
Yeah, I kind of, in between that and like the GDQs became like so big, and like the whole event just kind of changed, you know, like there's a lot more people I don't know there. It's like everyone's going in their own little clique area in the hotel rooms and going out and doing their own thing. So between like just me burning out and like that, it's just kind of a culmination of, you know, I don't know if I'll try again in a couple of years if I ever feel like a second wind, but I'm perfectly fine just like doing my own thing for now.
Yeah, you're one of the people that you could say grew up, well, not grew up. You saw the GDQs grow up, and they changed in a big way, right? If you look at the 2013 video and compared to the 2016 video, it's a different world, right? So what did it's obviously not as positive for you. What do you think about what GDQ has become and, you know, what it is now today? What do you think about that's place?
I mean, I don't necessarily put as much blame on them as some people, although I am rather pessimistic about like the event itself, but I think it's more of a microcosm of like the community. I think like it's kind of a result of the community itself kind of fracturing into its own little groups, and like people who are kind of burning out. You know, you see all the main runners who were big streamers in 2013, 2012, and like almost none of them still stream speedruns. Like they're either not streaming or they're doing let's plays, and they're, you know, they may have a successful Twitch stream doing other stuff now, but it seems like between like people just burning out and like just the whole fracturing, it's a very difficult topic to talk about because there's so many like little tiny things that have caused this change. You know, you think back to how like the whole community used to rally together. Like you remember the Prodigy X, this Twin Galaxy guy streaming Tomb Raider for a Twin Galaxies time, and he was like playing all cutscenes mode, and he was trying to claim a world record for all cutscenes percent or something. And like the entire community was there to like shit on this guy. They're like, "You're not a real speedrunner." Like now, no one would care. Like no one cares about people exploiting speedrunning anymore. Like the whole machinima thing with your pie when he first made that, like 2014 or something. I don't remember exactly, but like even that was still like a huge deal. And like imagine today if that was a release, like nobody would care. Like people would support it probably really well. It's just kind of funny seeing how over time things have changed. And so I think that kind of played out in GDQs where like people all kind of go to their own little islands, both in the community and at the event. And so I guess the events are still cool in that they have a lot of, interesting runs for people who haven't seen them before. But for people like me, I've seen everything so much. It's just like, I don't get anything new out of it other than it being a place to hang out with people I want to hang out with.
I think it's like GDQs kind of have naturally grown to be where they're kind of at this level now. They're not growing too much now. But maybe that's just the size they're supposed to be. And for the organizers, it's not their fault that it's gotten so popular, right? Like it's like when a band, you're a small band, you like the band. Hey, this band's cool. They're my kind of band. But then when they get big, some people are like, oh, I don't like them anymore. I think it's the same kind of thing, right? It just changes, right? So what you talked about the machinima thing, and I found one. I was looking at one post you did on Speed Demos Archive I want to talk about 4 years ago. I know it's 4 years ago. You probably don't even remember what it is, but I want to let you know. There was talk about like people. I'm the kind of guy that thinks I'm always thinking about ways to grow speedrunning, do different things with speedrunning. I don't think GDQ should be the only thing that's on the calendar. That's not. I don't think GDQ should be the only kind of big thing on the calendar, right? And one thing you wrote kind of caught my eye about it was about you think that runners could maybe not have to pay the registration fee or things like that. There was kind of a discussion about maybe compensated runners in some way, even if it's not like, hey, here's money. So do you still think that's the case, or is there maybe space for some kind of event that's based around that? What do you think about that now?
So it's kind of funny. Like I made that post and I actually got a lot of backlash. Like you scroll in the next couple pages and you see people like giving me shit for it. I'm like, and it turns out they actually shortly after removed the registration cost for people who are accepted runners. And so like I don't know if I was the reason for that or not, because I remember Mike Yama shortly and after that thread actually was interested in that idea. But as far as like paying runners to be there, I don't know. It's kind of a hard thing to do because like there's so many people who would take the place and can do the job of these runners. Like if the runners were scarce and they were like they had more like leverage to like claim, like say, oh, we could just not come and your marathon would be terrible. If the Super Metroid community all just said like, we're not going to run Super Metroid, so you're not going to get your rate or kill and save incentive to make a free $500,000. Like if they had the power to really do that, then I think runners could have a little more say in like what they get for going. But because there's always going to be someone who wants to like get exposure and to just have a chance to be at an event like this, and like there isn't a huge difference between a top runner and a lesser player as long as their ability to like be entertaining is decent enough. Like I think there's enough people to always take the spot that like there's never going to be a way runners could possibly get more than we already get, which is just the free registration.
I think especially because it's a charity event, it kind of makes it kind of a feel bad kind of feeling. If you say like, "Well, pay us to be there," it's kind of weird. But I want to let you know about my idea. It's not like a brand new idea. It's something similar to that machinima thing you mentioned. I think we should have an event where there's money in speedrunning in form of races, right? So esports are huge. They're only getting bigger. All kinds of esports. I'm not saying speedrunning is an esport or anything because people get pissed at that. But what do you think of my idea here? I'm going to explain it in a quick way. Let's say we choose one night, 4 games, 4 runners each game. I'm going to choose, the biggest of the best here, Super Metroid. Let's talk about Ocarina of Time, Link to the Past, these kind of big runs. We set a time period, right? So let's say 4 months. The people that get the 4 best times in these 4 months get invited to, let's say, esports arena for one night, and the winner of that race we do it that night live gets $10,000, $5,000, whatever the sponsors allow, which is probably not that much. But what do you think about that? Would there be backlash to that now in 2018, you think?
I mean, I think it'll be worth trying. I have no idea how successful it would be, but like at the point we're at now, where like GDQs have kind of recycled their ideas, trying to like get some new task bot thing or some weird like races of randomizers. Like they're running out of ideas to mix it up. So I think something like that would be just a good like trial run, if anything. But like I would totally fully support. I have no problem with money being in speedrunning in any shape or form. I kind of used to be, but it was more like jealousy back in like the old days. And now I've kind of fully accepted like this isn't a big deal. So I mean, I think it would be a cool idea just to like to provide some incentive for people to like whether it's competing in races or tournaments or just like some other new event. Like I think it would be a good idea.
Yeah, I think just I think it would make speedrunning even bigger deal when you have like just like pro football player. Wow, I could be a pro football player one day. I could I could be Zost one day playing on the big stage, playing with the Metro. I think it'd be pretty cool. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff involved with making an event like that happen. So you kind of took a little Twitch. Now you're twitching kind of semi regularly, right? You kind of jump back in the game a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been nonstop. Like, there's been periods of time when I haven't streamed that much, but like I've always streamed. I think I've streamed at least once a month, probably my entire streaming career. There may have been like 1 or 2 months where I didn't stream when I was like playing some other casual game for like just hardcore binging it. But like I've been pretty regular. Like I used to stream more for sure when I was like I didn't have a job and I wasn't in school, or if I was in school, it was like a very light workload, so I had more time to like stream daily. But now I'm like a little busier, so I can only stream like twice a week. But I mean, it's something I plan on doing for as long as I speed or for as long as I game, which it could be decades. I have no problem like making time for that if everyone else in my life is okay with it and I have the time to do so. Like maybe I'll be a 50-year-old person still grinding for my stupid time I can't get. I have no idea, but
What kind of your drive, right? What kind of drives you to? Is it chasing world records? Is it just for the fun of, streaming with other people, talking to people? What makes you kind of keep going?
it's a combination for sure. Like if it was only competition, I would be very hard pressed to find motivation in my games that nobody play. Like I'm the only person who's active in many of my games, and that's not to say that the runs I get aren't like pretty good because I try to make my best effort to optimize even if nobody else is playing. But at a certain point, competing against yourself does get a bit tiresome. But I also have the secondary motivation of just like loving the game, having nostalgia for the game in many cases, and like just wanting to see the best time that you can get. And so I think both of these play on each other. And like the few times somebody does pick up a game, I get like super pumped and I like no life the game and I like crush them into the ground and wonder why they quit. It's kind of a I like I want people to play my game and then I crush them into the ground and then I'm like, why do people don't play my game? It's kind of my own worst enemy. But yeah, no, I think I have the sustainability to last for a while. Like some people kind of flame out after grinding like 8 hours a day every day for months. Or me, I've never my entire career I have never streamed more than like 2 hours at a time, and never